on today's trade deadline special.
We'll discuss all of the major trades from the past 24 hours.
Marc Gasol's a Raptor, Nikola Mirotic is on the Bucks, and Markelle Fultz is in Orlando. We break down the wild, wild East.
And Anthony Davis stays put in New Orleans, so what's next for LeBron and the reeling Lakers?
It's Thursday, February 7th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey. I'm Jay Skeets, alongside me as always, Tass Mellis. We got the Aussie Lee Ellis, and joining us here at the desk, it's the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! All right, on tonight's action-packed show, we're going to recap some of the notable trade deadline deals. We'll discuss Anthony Davis staying put in New Orleans, what this means for the Pelicans and the Lakers, and hopefully we'll get to your very solid play.
I hope so.
No promises, though. No promises.
Man.
We got so much to talk about. Let's start with the biggest name traded today, and that was Grizzlies big man, Marc Gasol. Heading north of the border, going to Toronto. The Hornets were thought to be the top team chasing Marc Gasol, but in the end, the Raps trade Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and a future 2024 second-round pick to Memphis for the former Defensive Player of the Year and former All-Star. Still got a little left in the tank, but what do you think about this in terms of what the Raptors gave up and how Gasol fits with the Raps moving forward?
I think he fits in perfectly. Yes, he's not all-star Marc Gasol anymore. He's 34 years old. But I think he gives Kawhi a little bit more space because he's a little bit more of a capable shooter than Serge Ibaka or Jonas Valanciunas. And speaking of Serge Ibaka, I think Serge should still start, but Marc Gasol can be the platoon like Jonas Valanciunas was. I think Serge Ibaka is magical right now. I don't see how you take him out of that lineup, but I think Marc can be Jonas Valanciunas part 2. He can finish games. He'd be a great matchup for Joel Embiid. They didn't give up much. It's an upgrade. I'm not over the moon for it. I don't think this makes them the number one team in the East with a star, but it's a good move.
It's an upgrade, for sure. There's no question that Marc Gasol is better than what they gave up there. He's a smart player. He's very good defensively. He's versatile. He's good on offense where he can shoot the ball, the three ball. He can also pass the ball. It's probably a move that's looking next year as well because he's got a $25 million player option. You don't think he's going to opt out of that. And Valanciunas and CJ Miles could also become free agents. So it was kind of one of those moves like, sure, both teams can take a flyer on it. And I think if you are Masai Ujiri, you just look at your team now and you go, because Jonas kind of extended his range out to that three-point shot. It wasn't great, but he was working on that, and Marc Gasol has certainly done that over the last couple of years. I think if you're a Raptors fan, you have to feel you've got a little bit more stability in that team. And you know, DeLon Wright, he was probably leaving anyway next season. So I think the Raptors have done well for themselves here. This was kind of in the works. Marc Gasol had been rumoured to be interested by the Raptors, but he sort of, I thought we were a little bit surprised that it did happen because, as you mentioned earlier, it seemed like he was on his way to the Hornets.
I'm a little curious about what they're going to do lineup-wise. Like Tass is saying, I don't think you trade for Marc Gasol to bring him off the bench, however. He's the kind of guy that will be able to smooth out the gaps between Kyle Lowry doing his thing and Kawhi Leonard doing his thing. They haven't necessarily fit great together at all times, but Marc Gasol is great at connecting those sides of the floor. So I think that would be a huge boon to the Raptors offense starting, just making things a little bit smoother. But like you're saying, we've seen that Serge Ibaka is now a center. So is he going to be okay coming off the bench after having a great first half of the season, playing as the center for the Raptors? I don't know. But I do trust that the Raptors and Gasol and Ibaka, all experienced guys, they'll probably figure it out.
Well, what I like about this, though, is the Raptors. Masai Ujiri, he's going all in here on this season for the Raptors without really hemorrhaging the future for the Raps. You know, no Siakam in this, no OG, no first-round pick in this deal to get Marc Gasol to go for it, to go for the finals. This year you got Kawhi. You don't know if he's leaving. A lot of us expect him to leave. Well, you got Marc Gasol, an upgrade, no doubt, over JV, and I'm a big JV fan, but an upgrade, no doubt, especially on the defensive end of the floor. And here you go. You have a go at it, and you're still not killing your future if Kawhi leaves and it doesn't work and whatever. You just move on.
It's the exact same timeline.
Right.
It's the exact same because 2020, Valanciunas was coming off the books, so was Marc Gasol. Lowry and Ibaka also come off the books. That either way, if he starts or if he doesn't, Jonas Valanciunas, he started like 33% of games. I could see Gasol filling in there, but I think ending games is more important.
Right.
Because Kyle Lowry, could you depend on him to be your number 2 guy? I'm not so sure. Siakam was coming to be that guy, but Marc Gasol you can rely on, I think, to take those shots. Will he make them?
As a number
Who the
2
heck
guy
knows?
down the stretch.
Yeah, 2 or 3, but he gives more space to Kawhi too. We've seen Kawhi get in there in the key, do a little bit of bobbling, especially because you got a Jonas or Ibaka defender a little bit closer. Gasol can extend that range a little bit.
Well, we had another Eastern Conference team making some moves here today, and that was the Bucks. The top of the East right now, they acquired Nikola Mirotic from the Pelicans in exchange for Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and 4 second-round picks. Now, the deal also included the Pistons, who had traded Johnson to the Bucks for Thon Maker. So it is a three-way. We love a three-way on trade deadline day. But what do you think about this? Mirotic going to the Milwaukee Bucks. You love it.
Brilliant move for the Bucks. Yeah, they get Nikola Mirotic, who was fantastic when he went to New Orleans last year. He's a three-point shooter. He spreads the floor. That's what the Bucks need. They gave up virtually nothing to get him as well. So I think if you're Milwaukee, you're very, very happy. He'll come off the bench and just go out there shooting
Bombs
threes.
away.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want. A guy who, he also could finish the game depending on how things are going, because he's one of those guys you cannot leave him alone. We saw that. I mean, remember this season he started off red hot.
He's
for the
streaky.
Pelicans.
He's very streaky.
No doubt he's
Yep.
streaky, but he's one of those guys. He can win you a playoff game. There's no question in my mind that he can do that. If you're the Bucks, I think this is a fantastic upgrade for virtually nothing in return.
And it's basically an upgrade of kind of players they already have. The Bucks like to play Giannis with 4 shooters around, and Nikola Mirotic is definitely going to be an upgrade off the bounce over Ersan Ilyasova. More experienced than DJ Wilson, who's been playing pretty good, but this is a guy who's been to the playoffs in all but one season in his career. He competes on defense. He'll just be able to do the same thing, just a little bit better.
Yeah, last year in the postseason, he had a 30-point game, just monstrous.
Yep.
And no team takes more open threes than the Bucks because Giannis Antetokounmpo draws so much attention. This guy hits open threes. Nikola Mirotic is ready to shoot. He was 43% from 3 in the playoffs last year. This is the time Giannis Antetokounmpo has to win a playoff series. And last year when he got into the lane a lot in the postseason, he didn't have a big to pass to. And yes, Ersan Ilyasova is there this year. That should make a difference. Brook Lopez should make a difference as well, but he's starting. Mirotic, I think, should be fine coming off the bench and stroking wide open threes.
He
if
does
you,
not need an invitation to shoot.
No,
either,
no.
but-
And funny part with him, you check his shooting splits in terms of months. He's great at the start of the season, and then he cools off for the middle chunk, and then he's on fire for whatever reason in March and April over his 5-year career, and then into the playoffs there last year.
Mr. March.
He really is. He's on fire in March, so it's a nice pickup from the Bucks. We all like this one. Other moves in the Eastern Conference. The Sixers made their big move yesterday, acquiring Tobias Harris from the Clippers, but they weren't done. Philly moved Markelle Fultz, the #1 overall pick in 2017, to the Magic in exchange for Jonathan Simmons, a first-round pick coming by way of OKC, and a second-round pick from the Cavs. So Markelle Fultz, they have obviously moved on from him in this experiment, and whether or not he could ever get that shot back. And the Magic take a flyer. What do you think about Orlando having a go here at Markelle Fultz?
I hope he's ready for his opportunity because he's going to get one. The Magic do not have a franchise player at the point guard spot. Markelle Fultz is going to have the reins. It sure feels like. And he's got, sort of out of the spotlight now because it is Orlando. So he's got a couple months here and next season to have his mind right and to have his game right. I don't know how long a leash they give him.
Even if he even
Probably
plays.
very long.
Yeah, it is
You would think
Orlando.
There's not a lot of expectations for him to be great right away in Orlando. There's even talks that he still might not play this season. I would be a little worried the Magic don't have a great track record of developing perimeter players over the past few seasons, but once Jimmy Butler was acquired by the Sixers, you knew that Fultz was going to be traded eventually. At least he's going to a place where he's going to get a chance to play.
Yeah, I guess he'll be out of the spotlight down there. No one's really expecting big things from him. But it's kind of weird that the Sixers, it just didn't work out for him there, and they've given up on him because they traded up to get him. It cost them another pick, and now they've flinged him off for Jonathan Simmons, who also, I'm very surprised things weren't better for him in Orlando, coming from San Antonio, who do develop players really well. Yeah. And now he's sort of moved
He
on
is
as well.
struggling to hit the 3 ball
Yeah,
whatsoever.
he's struggling. Yeah, so it's a bit of a all right, let's just try and see if a new situation can help these teams out. But I don't think anyone's really expecting a major change from either team.
Again, the Sixers' big move was yesterday getting Tobias Harris. We talked about it on last night's show, but they got some wing depth today in getting James Ennis and now Jonathan Simmons, and they're going to see what these guys can do for them. Yes, here's the Harris trade from last night that we got into. That's their big play here, and then it was the Raptors getting Marc Gasol, and it was the Bucks getting Nikola Mirotic.
I mean,
The Celtics didn't do a whole lot,
Yeah,
but
the-
maybe in the buyout market.
The fact the Sixers got a first-round pick back actually is not bad,
Yeah.
really, because I think Fultz, I don't think there would have been a huge market for him. So-
Heavily protected
Still,
pick, but
yeah,
a first-round pick nonetheless.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan Simmons was great for San Antonio, playing some D in the postseason a couple
Yeah.
of years ago. That's why he got that big contract in Orlando. They're desperate for bodies, and they're desperate for defenders. They're a really good offensive team. he could play if he's ready to play.
All right, got to take a break. Lots more still to come here on tonight's trade deadline special. When we come back, we'll keep breaking down the trades that did happen, but how about the big one that didn't? No LA for AD. We'll discuss that and more when we come back.
The Starters is presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey.
The biggest news of the trade deadline wasn't even a trade at all. Despite asking for the Pelicans to move him a few weeks ago, Anthony Davis was not traded before 3 p.m. today. The Lakers, as we know, reportedly offered everything but Jack Nicholson to acquire the All-Star, but AD remains in New Orleans. Now, there's a whole lot of questions coming off of this. The first one, do you think the Pelicans will regret not making the move with the Lakers, or do you like that they waited and try and get some suitors from other teams, some other packages, mainly the Celtics?
I like that they used the leverage that they had, and the leverage that they have is time. They're a team that trades their first-round pick annually, and they went away from that. They're holding on, and they're going to wait until the Celtics have a package for them. I think that Lakers package, as juicy as it looks right now, will still be there because it's Anthony Davis.
Yes, this was the
I'm
reported
guessing.
giant Lakers offer, like their
Right.
last offer that they had thrown at them, yeah.
Yeah, the Pelicans weren't bullied into making a deal that wasn't the best for them. I think it makes sense for them to wait until the offseason to get as many different offers and as many different scenarios on the table as possible. Maybe they go back to this Lakers one, but
You
who
think
knows?
it'll still be there to some extent?
I think the fact that the Celtics was looming large, that offer, what they can offer with packages and young players and talent, is the one that made the Pelicans say, well, it's simply there's no point in us making this deal now when we maybe get someone like a Tatum and maybe a Zion Williamson.
That's the
as
thing,
well.
the maybe. Do you trust Danny Ainge?
That's the only way that the Pelicans regret this is
Right.
if Anthony Davis gets hurt, which then brings back less in return. If one of the trade targets they're looking at, Jason Tatum, if he gets hurt,
Yeah.
that brings back a worse return. And if Danny Ainge is faking the funk and he doesn't really dangle that Jason Tatum, then you're running into problems. That being said, if that happens, you just turn back to the Lakers, be like, hey, we're ready now.
Yeah, that's the safety net you've got there of the Lakers, how desperate they are to get him.
Right.
Anthony wants to go there. We know that that's what he said. So why not just wait and almost play these teams off against each other?
Right.
Allow teams to come
That's
in
definitely
and
the smart move. Only an idiot would think that Anthony Davis was getting traded to the Lakers before the deadline.
A little sarcasm there, right? What do you think about, though, now what happens with Anthony Davis and the Pelicans? He's there. He has said he wants to play. They have kept him out the last couple of games. That made sense leading up to the deadline, but now he's still there. What's going to happen here? Are they just going to continue to sit him?
I guess they sit him. They would look like the most incompetent front office if he gets hurt. How could they ever be forgiven as a front office if he does get injured?
What about the
That's the end of it.
backlash from maybe the NBA, from maybe obviously fans, even maybe possibly even Pelicans fans, though I know a lot of them say, no, he asked for a trade and don't play him now. But this is going to be a weird situation here, I think. We've seen teams get scolded a little bit from the league for resting like a Robin Lopez type of guy, let alone an Anthony Davis type of guy.
If I'm Pelicans ownership, I say bring on the scold. This is our business.
Yeah.
And we're going to run it. And if the NBA has to have a 30-team vote to tell us to play our guy, go right ahead. But I don't understand how you risk it, how you risk your best asset out there.
Well, Davis says he wants to play, so it's
Yeah.
a risk to him as well, because if he gets injured, then maybe he doesn't get that big contract that he's looking for. But I can understand that he wants to play, but the fact that they took him out of the intro video and they've kind of said, we don't want you here, is going to make things very awkward. Teams often sit players when they're out of the playoffs 10 to 15 games left to go in the season. So maybe they play him here for 10 or 15 games and just sort of meet halfway.
Because the Pelicans also don't want to be good this year because they want to have a better draft pick, higher odds to get their own.
They're not good when he
great
plays,
pick.
so...
And there has been
They're
mention,
better when he plays.
like Leah's saying, of Anthony Davis getting on some sort of schedule for playing some of these games and not necessarily all of them. Maybe it'll be similar to a Marc Gasol situation where he plays a few, then comes down with a minor injury and you shut him down. Hopefully they kept that Photoshop file so they can pop him right back into the video if he gets back out there.
Well, the Lakers did make some moves both today and last night, and it wasn't obviously for Anthony Davis, but they traded Zubats and Super Cool Bees to the Clips for Mike Muscala, and yesterday they acquired Pistons guard Reggie Bullock. So they added a little shooting here. Not a lot, but a little. But what's interesting to me is, do you guys think, we saw that loss against the Pacers and how shook those young guys looked because their names have been popping up left and right in all these trade rumors. Can the Lakers recover here? now that they don't have AD, they got some new guys, but basically got a lot of their same guys. Can they still make a playoff push, or is this going to completely collapse here?
When you've got so many young guys who have never been in this situation where their names have basically been pushed into trade talks, I think it's going to be very hard for them to now just forget about it and move on. We saw LeVar Ball back in the media today. He's obviously
He had a lot to say.
obviously not happy, calling out Magic, calling out LeBron, calling out Luke Walton. So again, if you're an older guy and you've been around the league, you can probably just go, you know what, this is part of the business.
These guys have been in trade rumors since they got into the NBA, though. It's been Paul George, it's been Jimmy Butler, it was obviously Anthony Davis this year. The main thing for them getting back to the playoffs is if LeBron is healthy and able to play.
Yeah, but I mean, do you remember them being sort of so involved in these trade
It was more in the offseason for sure, but it's not unusual, I would say, for these Lakers young guys to be considered a possible trade target. That's been the case basically since they all came into the league.
Yeah, any organization or clubhouse, I should say, is chaotic because if LeBron James is in it,
Yeah.
every single season. And LeBron can drag this team back to the postseason, I think, especially the Clippers. They've decided that they're not going for it. LeBron comes back and comes back healthy, playing every game. No more load management.
Well, that's
and
interesting.
he can get them into the postseason. And these two little moves, I know they're teeny tiny, but they would look really great if they got a superstar as well. Because Mike Muscala is a solid shooter. I don't know if they got angry Uncle Bob Muscala in that deal. And Reggie Bullock, he's not heralded outside of Detroit, but coming off screens, he's got some great numbers. They got shooters around LeBron James, which is nice.
Right.
That's how you have to operate around LeBron James. And those other guys will be part of a trade package in 3 months from now.
So you think LeBron
I guess.
hulks up here for the final 25, 26, 27 games instead of sort of waving the white flag, continuing to rest, and sort of, punting this season, so to speak, and looking ahead to the offseason? That's what I'm interested to see. What type of LeBron we get here? Does he truly
Playoff
believe?
LeBron during the regular season?
Ooh.
Crazy.
It's in
so.
play. Let's hear
He's
from
not
you
going
guys.
to Joe Punty. No
Not
way.
gonna Joe Punty. All right, let's hear from you guys on Twitter, hashtag the starters. What can we expect from the Lakers now that they don't have AD, at least for the time being? All right, when we come back, we'll continue to break down the deadline deals, including the Kings acquiring Harrison Barnes. One of the biggest trades from the past 24 hours or so was Harrison Barnes going to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Justin Jackson and Zach Randolph. What does everybody think of this? The Kings getting their three-man there, their small forward and Harrison Barnes.
I'm excited for the Kings because they're going for the postseason.
Yep.
They've got a. Not only are they knocking on the door, they're banging on that door. It feels like they should get a spot. I'm kind of confused from the Mavericks side. They signed him as a number one option a couple years ago. He obviously isn't a number one option. He hasn't grown into that. But you had Luka Doncic, you had Kristaps Porzingis. Isn't he a perfect number three type guy like he was for the Warriors? And it's not like you signed him long term. He's got a contract till the end of next year. He was fitting in perfectly. He shoots the three ball really well. Catch and shoot, he would dominate with Doncic and Porzingis getting him the ball. I didn't see a problem with that. I kind of like him there as the 3 or 4 guy. I was kind of confused. You have him in your fold. Why move him?
I guess it just opens up more cap space, so they've got grand plans on signing somebody else. But
guess.
I do like him for the Kings because he's a vet who's been to the finals. He's won a championship, so he knows what it's like in the playoffs. And this is the team that is trying to get into the playoffs. So I think he could be a good vet there. And I don't think he's the sort of guy who's going to come in and say, I need to get my shots, I need to get my touches. He'll sort of slot in, even if it means a few less shots. But
He doesn't move the ball all that well.
no, he doesn't, but that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you know what you're getting with him, though. He's going to be a very solid, reliable vet at both ends of the floor, even if he is a little bit streaky as well at times.
The Kings also did another deal, the three-way deal involving the Rockets and the Cavs, where they gave away Shumpert. Okay, they got Alec Burks back. There was a pick. You see it there. A lot of moving parts there. I actually really legit hated this for the Kings, and really not because of what Shumpert truly brought on the court, even though he was asked to play the 3 and did an admirable job. Bit of a renaissance for him, coming back a little bit and playing well, scoring 10 a game in 25 minutes a game. But what that guy, to me, in my opinion, was bringing off the floor in that locker room. These Kings guys, these young Kings guys, they loved this guy. He seemed to be every Kings favorite player. There is no doubt. And he had a little championship swagger, and he had, the goals of let's get these guys into the playoffs. So that was a little rough. I don't think Alec Burks is much of an upgrade over him at all. I love the Barnes. I get what they're doing there. I wish they had kept Shump because I don't think it's going to tear the locker room apart by any means. But it's nice to have that sort of chemistry guy, coming up with the scores as he's calling the group, and everybody's getting into it. He just seemed like a great leader for that very, very young Kings squad. So that one hurts a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but I'm guessing the Kings are thinking that Harrison Barnes will be able to be that chemistry guy while also being an upgrade on the wing, and they were able to turn Amon Shumpert, an expiring contract, into a player. So, good job by the Kings, all considered.
Another trade that happened was between the Bulls and the Wizards. We've got to get Trey Kirby's take on this. Otto Porter Jr. Is it Otto Porter Jr. or isn't it?
They got both.
Sometimes it's Otto Porter, sometimes it's Otto Porter Jr. But anyway, he's going to the Bulls, and you see in exchange there for Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis. All right, Trey, what do you think about this? We know what the Wizards were doing here. This was a cost-cutting move, and especially with their other move that they did with Markieff Morris. They're cutting money because they want to get under that luxury tax. What do you think from the Bulls getting Otto Porter?
This is the first time the Bulls have improved at the trade deadline since they brought Brad Miller back in 2009. That's not a joke. It's been a decade. The Bulls have a ton of cap space, but they know that nobody's going to sign with them, so they use their cap space on Otto Porter. That's something you can do when your best players, for the most part, are on rookie contracts. They got 5 guys that are still on their rookie deals. They're paying a ton of money, no doubt, to Zach LaVine and Otto Porter, which is not the greatest idea, but if you're still in rebuilding mode, Otto Porter doesn't add too much to the win total while being a professional guy who would start for pretty much every team in the league.
$55 million he's still owed, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and he's not going to move the needle all that much.
They still got cap space. Where else are they using it? They got 19 mil this
Who's
year,
signing
Lee.
there? You said no one signs there. Who's going to sign there?
Probably DJ Augustine.
Trey Kirby is actually using your own reasoning against you, Lee, with the why not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he got me. He got me. I understand now
They
why
had a
it's so
ton of cap space
frustrating.
last year and ended up with Jabari Parker. It didn't work out. The summer before, Dwayne Wade didn't work out. Otto Porter, you gonna work out? Yeah, you are. You're on the Bulls. Push-ups, baby!
Tonight on TNT, we find out who Giannis and LeBron draft to their all-star teams. And after that, doubleheader, Lakers and Celtics. What a job by the schedule makers with that one on trade deadline day, followed by the Spurs and the Blazers. What a week or so for the NBA as we led up to the deadline today. Started with Porzingis. Guess that was at the end of January, and then into February. See all the new faces in new places.
New faces.
Yeah, they're not new faces. You're right. I don't get this. These guys are in new places. What we should have called this.
I've never seen them before. They're all new.
No, they're not new to you. You know that. Come on. Tonight's pick and play. Wolves and Magic's on League Pass. Trey and myself have the Wolves on the road. Lee and Tass taking Orlando at home. All right, VSP. We got time, Lee.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors who just snoozed past the trade deadline, and this is why. They're just looking beautiful as always. Watch this one here from Steph. He gets Davis there going, and then you think he's going to lay it up? No. Ball keeps fizzing around. Back to Steph for a boomerang in the corner. A little pump fake party fast.
Wow.
Finishing with a 3-ball. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very solid indeed. Tomorrow we got the Drop Podcast. We'll talk about all of the trades that happened over the last 48 hours or so. And we'll get into Kevin Durant ripping on the media after that big Warriors win. So lots to talk about. That's tomorrow, and then we're back here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, we might get to your fan science tomorrow.
Embrace the night, people.